Vince Vergara, your brother, as you know. I'm a dean now. So first year dean, I was teaching for I don't know 2006 to now. So whatever that is, 16, 17 years or whatnot. Special ed teacher. I recently was a resource teacher, or I guess an inclusion teacher, they call it now. And this is my first semester as a dean, so I'm a dean now.
What made you want to be a dean? Why'd you have that classroom right there?
So I didn't necessarily want to be the dean, to be quite honest. And the dean actually approached me, and I guess kind of we were having a conversation about it, and my first response was like, I would never be dean. Um, that's not something I'm interested in. I know a lot of times teachers go into like out of classroom positions to get into like assistant principal eventually, or principal, or whatnot, admin. I've never had any desire to be admin. So, but I went home that night and I thought about it for a second, and I figured, I'm already a JV football coach. I already work with the special ed population. And I know a lot of the gen ed students as well. So I figured, who better to become the dean than um, someone who kind of already has their pulse on the school, and has a good rapport with the students. I felt like I could have a pretty good impact here at Eagle Rock, so I decided to throw my name in the hat.
Yeah, the dean's no joke, man. Like I said, we've talked about this before, but I was a dean for a good 3 years, and it's not an easy job at all. Especially if you work in, I don't know, like the inner city. Especially if you work in a school where there's gangs, they sell drugs. Those schools are hard to be a dean. And for me, it wasn't an easy transition. It wasn't an easy transition at all. And the more I got into being a dean, the more you see like the underbelly of the school, right? And I think we talked about this before, but you're a gen ed teacher, and if you have good classroom management, you really don't know what the hell is going on in the rest of the classes, the rest of the school. The threats that are going on, the harassments, the drugs, you don't know any of that. If you're good, if your classroom's good, then that's what you think of the school. That's what you think about the whole school, right? Oh, everything's fine here. This is a good school. Like this, everything's good. But everything, when you see everything, all the problems,
Yeah.
it gives you a different lens. What would you say about that?
I mean, I mean, it's like you're looking into like a keyhole, and you're like, oh wow, that place looks amazing, and you're looking, I don't know, into, let's say, any specific room in a house, but you only see that one room, and then you open the door and you see all the rooms, and you go through and you start like taking a tour, and you're like, oh shoot, there's a bathroom, and there's poop in the bathroom, and there's toilet paper, and there's someone left the clothes on the ground, and there's a closet, and this is where all the stuff got pushed. They
Yeah,
knew visitors were coming, so they pushed everything into the closet. And oh, there's a storage room. Oh my gosh, who no one's organized the storage room in years. And so you get like an entire, as a dean, you get to see every nook and cranny of that house, per se. You get to see every, junk drawer. You open the drawer, like, whoa, I thought there was knives and spoons and forks, but this is like a flashlight, a knife, like
yeah,
a hammer, a screwdriver, a piece of cheese. It's
yeah,
like, oh my gosh. So, I kind of, I guess, walked into this position kind of naively, like, I've been here for, 6 years, 7 years, or whatever it was. And I felt like I knew the school, and I knew this much of the school, you
yeah.
know, I didn't, I was like, one of those teachers, like looking through the keyhole, like, oh, this is a great school. And then, you see, like you said, the underbelly of the school, and it's a great school. It's still a good school, but
It's a good school.
there's so much, there's so much that goes on in a school. 2,000 plus kids or whatever it is, and you as the dean, the sole dean, you get to see and deal with every single problem, situation, harassment, drug, whatever it is, you name it, upset parent, you deal with that. Everything.
Yeah.
Hard
How
kid, you know.
how has that been dealing with just like every single problem?
Uh,
Let's just say mentally, like mentally, how's your sleep? Like that kind of stuff. Like how is that having to deal with every single problem? How is that mess with you mentally at all, if any?
well, like today, and sometimes it's not even like today was really minor. Today was a minor day, but I had to deal with like 12 students that were doing something that they shouldn't have been doing, and they all 12 of them kind of got. And so I was called to the scene, and I got these 12 students, so I know like 9 out of the 12 or 10 out of the 12, right? And so I'm writing down all their names, and obviously I can't deal with all 12 of them at one time, right?
Mhm.
And so one by one, I have to investigate, interview, take down a statement, and try to get information one by one. And there's 12 of them, and it's like this is how
That
my
yeah, that's the whole day.
and so and that's not even the draining part for me. And sometimes when you said how is it being dean, sometimes it could be draining. And the draining part for me is like, I built rapport with these students, and so like I know like there's certain students that if they're not in school and if they're not let's say roaming the school, they're not necessarily in class, they're not necessarily doing what they're supposed to be doing, but they're in school, and so they're safe. And I know that I was having a conversation with one of the students, and they were like, well, maybe I should go to continuation. And that for me was draining because and I advised them. I said, I know you're not going to classes right now, and I know you're probably failing most of your classes, and but I think for you the best option would be to stay in school, to stay here at Eagle Rock, um, get some help. Let me help you. Let me like see if I can get you a tutor or whatnot. Um, but continuation, I don't think is the right route for you. And the reason why I was saying that was because if he goes to continuation, I don't think he'll be in school, and I think he'll end up roaming the streets. And you know where that goes if you're a student roaming the streets and you're already caught up in some of these situations that you shouldn't be caught up in. So that for me is taxing on my mental health because I'm like I care for these kids. So when I see a situation where I'm like, oh, that's not gonna go well, it kind of weighs on me a little bit. So it could be
Yeah,
draining. It could be draining. That was just one kid. So, and I'm dealing with today. I didn't if I'm being honest, I didn't get to interview all 12 kids. I didn't have time. There's not enough time in the day. So
no,
sometimes I go home and I'm tired, and I have to remember like, oh, I'm tired because emotionally I've been dealing with all kinds of stuff throughout the entire day. So
yeah,
I'm figuring out a way to like, okay, how do I reset and get ready for my home life now? Because I can't just go home, just be tired and like go to sleep. I got all
yeah,
kinds of to deal with. I got my own kids, so
yeah.
there's been an adjustment period for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know, for my new position right now, at my new position, it could be overwhelming at my new position, and I found myself coming home and thinking about work and thinking about what I could do and try to solve problems in my head, laying down in bed, and then I wouldn't sleep. So for the first maybe like 2 months or so, my sleep was horrible here, horrible because I couldn't get school out of my head. I have to actively shut it off when I leave work. I can't even think about work anymore. And I say to myself, there's nothing that I could do now. Once I leave this place, there's nothing I could do. It's done. And I can't do anything until tomorrow morning at 7:30 when I step into school again. And so I actively shut my brain off, and I don't think about work at all. And if a thought pops up, I'm like, no, no,
Yeah.
no. I'm not gonna think about it because it's gonna ruin my home life. It'll
Yeah.
ruin my. I took off my email from my phone because there were times where I look at my phone and I'd see my email and I'd see like the first few lines of it and I knew who it was coming from. I was like, ruin my day. Would ruin my day. I was like, this email is off my phone. I cannot have it on my phone because if I pick up my phone and I see it, ruin my day. Now I'm sitting here thinking about, oh, what I have to do. I have to make this email. I gotta make this. I gotta do this call, and I go lay down in bed, and then it's like, and
Yeah.
forget my sleep now. Forget my sleep, and then the next day I'm no good. I'm tired. I'm like, oh, here we go. What's helped me too is I keep this little brown notebook around. Little brown. I keep this brown notebook and a pen around all the time. And every time, I start my day off, I have my little checklist that I gotta do. Boom, 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 boom. And then somebody comes in and tells me, so hold on, doom, 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 and I jot it down. It's like a checklist. You have one too? There it is. There it is.
It's this is you cannot be a dean or assistant principal or an out of class without one of these. The worst thing, and I was walking through campus today after work, and I was like, the worst thing you can do as a teacher who wants my attention and needs my support, the worst thing you can do is find me when I don't have this, because I'm not gonna remember.
Yes.
I'll go if I like you said, if you don't write this down, if I don't write it down, it's not gonna get done because I have 20 things right here on this list right now, and those are the priority. That's the priority, right?
Mhm.
I ran into a teacher today and like, hey, Mr. Vergara, like, that student that we spoke to last time, and he's back at it again, and how can support me with this student, blah blah blah, right? I'm like, all right, I'll as soon as I get back to my office, I'll call his mom, and we'll set up a meeting, blah blah blah. All right, cool. Literally as soon as he steps away, three students walk up to me and they're like, Mr. Vergara, we need your assistance, blah blah blah, and like so like I'm dealing with these kids now. As soon as they step away, campus aide walks up to me like, "Hey, Mr. Brown." Now this was like I don't know, let's say 2 o'clock, 1:30 or whatnot. At 4:30 or like it was like 4:15, I was like, uh, "I never called that mom." I
Mhm.
the teacher was like, "Hey, support me with this student." I didn't write it in my book. I said, as soon as I get back to the office, I'm gonna, I'll call the mom. We'll set up a meeting. But everybody's always, Dean, I need the dean. I need Mr. Burger. Hey, can you? And if it doesn't get written down, it's not gonna happen. And I'm
Yeah.
the same way with the email. Like it'll be the weekend, and I got two accounts on that email. Like the little like whatever it is, click on this envelope, and your email opens up, and so it's AOL. And I don't know if anybody has AOL anymore, but I still have AOL. AOL, and then our school email. And I will not open up that school email because the same thing. Like it's almost like dread. Like man, what am I gonna open up this? What's gonna be on the other end of that email? Is it gonna be a parent who's like, hey, my daughter's being harassed, and she came to your office yesterday, and what's been done so far? And it's like, oh my god, like don't worry, I'm getting to it. There's you know 20 other people who are being harassed, threatened, dealing with drugs or whatever it is, and like there's only one of me. Like I'm gonna get to it, believe me. And so I won't open up that email too on the weekends or at night. I just like I'll do it in the morning. I'll worry about it in the morning because it's gonna ruin my night.
Yeah. How can we improve the system? Like, can this system get improved? Is it is
It's
it
like improvement as far as what? Like,
there's only one of you, like maybe hiring another dean. I how can all of those problems be addressed with only one person, one dean at the school?
it's not possible. It's not.
No, right?
I actually spoke to operations, and I was like, like, "Hey, Mr. Vergara, how's it? You know, being the dean. You know, how are you liking it or whatnot?" And I love it, to be quite honest. I feel like the impact that I'm having on the school and on students and their lives and whatnot. I'm having a huge impact. And not everybody's gonna like me, and not all the teachers are gonna agree with my methods and the students and whatnot. But I'm not trying to win a popularity contest. I never have, So I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do regardless.
Yeah.
What I think is gonna work best. But he asked me like, how do you like being a dean? I said I love it, but I go, this is a two-man job. It's a two-man job easily. So um, one dean for 2,000 plus students. That's I'm leaving today at 3. It was like I get off at teacher hours or whatever. I think a lot of people don't understand that the dean is a teacher
Yeah.
hours salary. They think I'm like admin. I had students asking me today, like, what do you have power over? Do you have power over teachers? Because I want to complain about this specific teacher. And they think like, because I'm the dean, I can like fire or hire teachers, or I don't know what, like, change policy. I'm like, no, I'm just dean of over students. But there's so many. This is like, this is being the dean. Like, so many tangents. There's so many things going on. What's up, Barnufo? How you doing? Um, your brain is in one place, and then all of a sudden, like you're somebody's giving you a phone call, or a student's calling you over or whatnot. But one man for 2,000 kids, it's not possible. It's not
Yeah.
possible. There's
I felt it very difficult as well when I was a dean. And it was me and the assistant principal. We would pretty much do all behavior, maybe for about 1,000 kids. Maybe for about 1,000 kids. There was two of us, mainly me, but he helped out as well, but mainly me.
yeah.
And it was a very difficult job. It was, like I said, and then you have to do the paperwork. When you're young, when you're like a brand new dean, right? This is how I felt when I was a brand new dean. You think about building those relationships, and you could talk things out, but then you don't, you forget about the policy part. You forget about the bulletins that need to be applied. You forget about like documenting the conversation with the parent, documenting the conversation with other people. You forget about all of that, right? And so that's the part that I was naive about when I first went in there. I didn't know that it entailed all of that, so all that documentation stuff. Um, and that's the part where you probably need to do. You probably need to. I don't know who helps you out, but that part is a piece that needs to get done. That's the part that I feel like you'll be held accountable for if it's not done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. And
So,
it's I feel like that would be like, even if it wasn't two deans or whatnot, but like you hire another person to help with the documentation, because you gave me great advice, and I'm trying to like follow that advice that you gave me. I think we talked maybe 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and you said, let's take for instance, you walk into the restroom and there's somebody vaping right there, and you're like, hey, what are you doing? You're vaping or whatnot. All right, come with me. Call the parent. Get a statement. And usually what I was doing in the beginning was, it was almost like a fast food restaurant. I was getting customers in and sending them out. So vapor. All right, doc. I would do the documentation. Like, here's the paper. I have the report, and then I would be like, all right, I'm gonna write that into the computer later into MySys. And then, oh, Mr. Vergara, this kid was bullying this other kid. He's been sent down with the referral. Okay, then I would send this student who I caught vaping. All right, here's the pass. Go back to class. I called your mom. We're gonna set up a meeting or whatever it is. Here's the consequences. All right, Mr. Bully, come in. All right, what are you doing? Whatever. Write a statement. Now I have two statements. I've already talked to two parents, but I still haven't documented it in MySys. Oh, Mr. Vergara, there's a sexual harassment. Like this student was sexually harassing us. All right, here's your pass. Go back to class. Sexual harassment comes in. Write a statement. What were you doing? I gotta go now. Okay, you gotta go to that office. I'm gonna bring in the victim. What happened? Oh, write a statement. Now I have four statements. And was there a witness? Oh yeah. Oh, bring in the witness. Okay, let's get that statement. Did the teacher say? Oh yeah, the teacher. Okay, write me an email. Okay, there's that. Right now I have six statements. This is all in like 1 hour, and I'm like a fast food restaurant. Come in, go out. Come in, go out. And now all the documentation that I'm supposed to like get done, I'm constantly, because I want to be an active dean. I want my presence to be felt on campus. Now instead of sitting there in my office for 45 minutes because I got to input stuff into the computer, I'm gonna go on the yard and supervise now. I'm gonna start, looking at the bathrooms. I'm gonna walk around like, hey guys, what's going on? How's everything? All right, where are you guys supposed to be? Okay, cool. And then I get called again, and so now my day's over. I have a stack of, I don't know, 10 to 15 incident reports, and none of them has been inputted. So
Yeah.
the advice you gave me was, next time you have, let's say, bullying situation, bring the bullies, the alleged, bully or whatnot, have them write a statement, call the parent, document it. If you need to write anything on the computer, write it in the computer, go into MySys. And once everything's done with that one customer, per se, if this was a restaurant, now you can send that customer back to class, and now you can deal with the next customer. And so that way,
Right.
like, you're covering yourself. The documentation is there. What's gonna be, down the line? Hey, so and so, like, we need to. There might be an expulsion or whatnot. Like, can we? Where's the documentation? Did you put into MySys? You could say, yes, here it is. I spent the extra, whatever it is, 15 to 20 minutes to write it down into the computer, and then I brought in my next customer. And so I've
Right.
been doing that lately, and that's been a huge help.
Yeah. And for your own sanity, like for your own peace of mind,
Yeah.
sometimes when I first started being a dean, I would worry about that. I was like, damn, I didn't document it. I didn't put in MySys. I didn't document that I talked to a parent. I didn't call operations. I should have called operations. Why did you know, all of these thoughts were going through my head, and it was like I had to learn the hard way. Like I can't do everything. I can't. I have one customer, like you were saying. I have one customer. Come here. Let me solve this one problem. And there's assistant principal on the other end right there that he could handle the other thing because I can't do everything. Right? Well, this is a 2-man, 3-man job, and if the assistant principal is busy, and the principal could go handle the next one, because I can't do it all. I
Oh,
can't do it all. Yeah, I can't do it all, and I need to make sure that it's done correctly. It's done correctly, and the right people are notified, and it's documented correctly, and it's all there so that if I get called on this one case, well, you can see that I documented everything. You see that I emailed so and so. You see that I called operations. You see that I did these things. It's all inputted right here. So there it is, and you're good. And
yeah.
that's kind of how it is. You just got to make sure that you cross your T's and dot your I's. Cross your T's and dot your I's, because everybody else is crossing their T's and dotting their I's. And
Oh
so
yeah.
you got to play the same game, and you got to play the same, cross your T's, dot your I's, take care, make sure you handle one situation at a time, make sure it's done correctly, and then you move on to the next one. You just move on to the next one, and that's just the best approach, and it's just a peace of mind. Like you handle one case, it's done. You could breathe. You go handle another case. But if
Yeah.
you have case after case after case, and they're all half done, half done, half done, that's just your peace of mind would be gone, because you have, yeah.
Yeah, so in the beginning, I was really good at calling the parents. I was great at follow up. I was great at like checking on the student. Great at, okay, both victim and, alleged perpetrator. Like, I was just on it. But what I wasn't on, like I said before, was the paperwork. And so I realized that there's more than, one part of it. There's so many parts to this job, and like you said, you got to finish that customer. Go all the way through. Don't do a half a race. Don't do three quarters of a race. When we would sprint back when we were in football, you have to run all the way through. You don't like we don't want to hear feet right before the finish line. You should hear
Yeah.
the after the finish line because that means you
Yeah.
ran all the way through. And so each customer that comes in, got to go see it all the way through. But it's funny because I was talking to one of my administrators and I was like, you know what? I'm doing a bang up job. I'm doing a bang up job. I know I'm kicking ass as a dean. I go and if in a year or 2 years or whatever it is, I don't know how long, because you have to be voted in for dean or whatnot.
Every year. Yeah.
Like, if you want to vote me out or vote someone else in, psh, hey, let's tag like in WWE. Boom, here's the tag.
Here you
You
go.
go out. Not a problem, not a problem. And I would never, I wouldn't quit this job, if I was able to stay in this position for the next 5 years, whatever, I would totally do it. But if somebody else wanted to, throw their hat into the ring, like, yeah, I want to come in and try it. Like, psh, hey, this is no joke. This is not for the weak.
That's right.
You have to be a monster to do this job. You have to be a different type of person. I mean, it's like with any job, any position. You can go in and sit on your, and like do the bare minimum and like whatever, and like, this job's not that hard. But if you're gonna do the job right, it's gonna be taxing. Like the first like week and a half, I didn't take a lunch. It's like 3:30, and I'm like, oh man, I didn't eat today.
Yep.
That's been another thing that I've been having to figure out. Is like, when do I eat? Because I could
Yep.
go a whole day without eating because there's just so much going on.
Yes. Yes.
So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. I've been out of classroom for 7 years now, and there are times where I won't eat. Like I, there's times now, like now, I eat breakfast. Like now, I'll eat 3 eggs, a toast, some fruit, and a handful of nuts in the morning. Like I'll actually eat a breakfast because there's no time to eat during the day.
yeah,
There's no time. And I'll bring snack, a yogurt, a granola bar, some other fruit, rare protein bars, that quick, something quick and easy, because I don't have that time. I don't have that 30, like if when you're a classroom teacher, you get that 40-minute duty free lunch, whatever it is, whatever your school is. At 30 for you, I don't know what it is. When you're in elementary school, it's 40 duty free, and you stick to that thing. Like you get mad if somebody took 2 minutes from you.
yeah,
You're upset if you got if it got cut just a little bit. The assembly went too long. It went like 3 minutes long, and you're pissed off. Like, damn, man, look at that. I'm gonna be late. I'm gonna be late to pick up my kids now. I'm gonna be late 3 minutes. They owe me 3 minutes.
yeah,
That's not how it, like, as a out of the classroom person now, as a dean or assistant principal. um yeah, that's not you just don't have a lunch really. So I make it a point to eat breakfast and get some protein in. I make it a point to bring some protein snacks, and then when I get home and I eat dinner, I really eat. Like, I eat because if I don't, I feel like I'm gonna get all skinny and sucked up, and this might be my vainness in me. But like, I'm like, I need to be healthy. I need to be healthy, and this job is not worth it. This job is not worth my health, right? That's
definitely.
something that yeah, that's something that I had to just like come to grips. I love my job as well. I love helping kids. I love working in education. But the job is not worth my health at all. My health is everything. Without my health, I have nothing. So I've been really, this year has been the hardest year I've ever had. This year has been the hardest year I've ever had. And it's like, what systems do you need to put in place so that you take care of your health? What systems you put in place so that you take care of your mental health, you take care of your home life, you take care of your physical health? What systems do you need to put in place? And that's what I've been doing. That's what you know what I've never felt like that was ever threatened. I never felt that my mental health was threatened, my physical health was threatened. I never felt that way ever before. But this year, because of the amount of stress and the amount of things that I'm in charge of, and I could see, I could see a decline. I saw a decline in my sleep, and my mental health, and my physical health, and I was like, "Uh oh, this is. I'm not eating. Did you drink any water? I didn't even drink anything today. Like,
Yeah,
oh wow, I didn't even drink anything today." And then I could, so like I've been putting like these systems in place where like, you got to take care of your health. You got to take care of your health before this job. And I love my job, but my health comes first.
for sure. Yeah, I was when I first the first like month or two of Dean, I was like, oh, I'm gonna go eat my lunch in the quad. I'm an outdoors guy. Like the sun is out, the birds are chirping. Man, I love kids. Like I'm gonna go sit on the tables in the quad and I'm gonna eat my lunch. And I realized that I was still working while eating my lunch, and then a teacher would come up to me like, Mr. Vergara, did you get my email, or did you you didn't return my call? And like, I'm on lunch right now, but now I'm answering questions, I'm talking to teachers, I'm counseling students, and I realized like, I'm not Superman. Like I go hide somewhere now. Like I don't, you
By
know
yourself, probably.
yeah,
Like by yourself. Yep.
by myself in a corner. I still got my radio, if whatever. But and before, I would be like this, about to eat, and then so and so to eight, they would call me on the radio, and then I just put my food down. Now I'm like, I'm eating. Like I'm at lunch, you know what I mean? Like I gotta take lunch. I gotta care for myself. I gotta have some type of mental health as well. Otherwise, what good am I gonna be?
Yeah, yeah, and yeah,
Still gotta get workouts in, at night. So if I'm drained, if I didn't take lunch, if I don't have no energy, then I'm gonna skip the gym at night, because I know you work out in the morning. I work out at night. So um, if I didn't eat, then my workout's gonna suffer. And so
do teachers know how much you do?
no,
No
no,
idea.
no idea. It's funny because um, I don't want to give too much information because I don't know who follows you, so I don't want to like I want
Yeah.
to cheat and whatnot. But somebody was upset with me, and a teacher, let's just say, and I sat down and I was like, my plate is stacked a mile high right now. I have so many things on my plate, and me being gracious, the gracious guy that I am, I apologize. I was like, I apologize for the miscommunication or whatnot, but I was like you really don't understand how much I have on my plate. So it wasn't like I did this on purpose. I didn't, whatever it was that this person was upset about. But I just have literally 1,000 things to do, literally. And
Yep.
because I extended grace, I thought grace was going to be extended back to me, but it wasn't. And so the person was kind of like we all have 1,000 things, which I get it. Yes, we do, but it's a little different. Being the dean, and only if you were the dean, you would understand. Only if you've ever been dean, you would understand. It's a little different from a teacher who has 1,000 things to do, and whoever else has 1,000 things to do on campus. Being the dean and having 1,000 things to do is a little different. You know, um, so yeah, no. To answer that question, no, no one really knows, and it's funny because I've told the former dean on two occasions already. Like, if I ever speak to the staff, like in a PD, I think the first thing I'm gonna say is like, hey, can we all give so and so a round of applause for sticking in with this position for as long as he did, and not going insane, like still being a sane human, productive member of society. Like, can we just all give him a round of applause? Like, he did this for whatever, 8 years or 7 years or whatever it is. Like good, like damn,
Yeah.
because the in the first 3 months, I'm like, whoa, this is wow. Talking about having a conference period, talking about as a teacher, you have your lunch. You could choose to, I'm going to grade papers this conference period, or you know what, I'm going to go take a couple of laps. There's like a walking crew at our school. Like during their conference period, they walk around campus, like, or I'm gonna call a parent, or I'm gonna like whatever during my conference period. And if I'm lucky, like I was, my conference period butts up with lunch. So not only do I have whatever 80 minutes or whatever it is of my conference period, I also have the 30 minutes. So let's put that together. Now I'm at like 2 hours every day as a teacher. Do whatever you want in those 2 hours, and I know you got a thousand things to do. And as a teacher, I was a teacher for almost 20 years or whatever it was. Sometimes, because I chose to not like work during my conference period, I had to stay up till midnight when I got home and do paperwork, but that was my choice. I don't have a conference period anymore as dean, but I'm on the teacher's salary, but I don't no longer have a conference period. I used to have a conference period, which blows my mind, because not only do I not have a conference period, I really don't have a lunch. So it's
Yeah.
it's crazy, like, do teachers really know? No, they don't, you know.
You know,
Dang, bro, my bad.
you're back.
I don't know how if that ruins the podcast or whatnot, but
I don't know. We'll see. But I left it recording, so hopefully it just like you just pop right back in and it's good. Uh, on a different note, a whole different note, man. What's up with marathon training?
hey, I'm gonna be ready, man.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm gonna be ready, and I didn't get the amount of time that I wanted to, because I don't know if I told you, but originally my son, my middle son, Josiah, said he was gonna run the marathon, or he was thinking about it, and I told him this was back in like the summer, and I was like, hey son, if you want to run the marathon, I'll run it too, like not with you, because I'm kind of a firm believer that a marathon is your own personal race. Like, unless you guys decide like, hey, we're gonna do it together because I need that support or whatever. Like, I remember one of my first marathons. I was training with my pastor at the time, and you know, he kind of got upset because I don't know, like 3 months into the training, I was like, we're not running together. I'm running my own race. Like, we're training together, but we're
Yeah,
not gonna run together. Like,
yeah,
you're running at a whatever, let's say a 9:45 pace, and at the time, like I was running like at a 9 minute pace. Like, you want me to hold your hand? Like, we're not
yeah,
we're not doing so. I told my son, like, if you need motivation, I'll run it too, right? Well, I'll run it in 2025, me and him. So he's like, yeah, all right, cool. And then recently, my wife shared with me that hey, Josiah said that he was gonna run it with you, like with you. He was like, this might be Dad's last marathon. I don't know if I'll ever have a chance to run a marathon with Dad again. So I'm gonna run it with him.
yeah,
And so that kind of changed my training, because I wasn't really like, I don't know, like, I've ran marathons before, so like when you have kids, and life is busy, and new job or whatnot, like, training kind of, you know it's not is it as important. But now, when my son told me he's going to run it with me, now I feel like I'm obligated to start training to where I could at least keep up the pace to where I'm not slowing him down entirely.
yeah,
So now I have a goal. Like, my first marathon, I think I ran a 4:45 as a 21-year-old, not much training, and so I want to at least try to beat the 21-year-old Vince,
sheesh.
which isn't crazy. Like, 4:45 isn't like the greatest time, but I feel like it's the same amount of training. Like, I just, I don't know. Like, I think the last month was like really like my first month of like kind of training, and I only got like 40 miles in, so it wasn't like this amazing month of training.
Yeah,
But I do feel strong, and I do feel confident, only because I have experience, and I'm following a pretty good training program, so I feel pretty good about it.
that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, so
We'll see. There's like 15. There's 15 weeks left, or this is about 15. Next week will be 14 weeks left to the marathon.
yeah.
And we'll see. Me and Liv were talking about doing it. We'll see. I Like I said, we've talked before, and the marathon pass is right by my house. And I think I said this to you, where I was like, I never want to sit there and wave people on and hold up a sign and give high fives. And I don't want to be that. I want to be the person that runs right past my house and high fives somebody else, and I want to participate in it. And I think it stings a bit when I watch people run the marathon and I'm not running it. It stings just a bit. If I didn't see it happen right in front of my house, it wouldn't sting. It'd be like another Sunday, like another Sunday. But because I see it, I'm like, damn, man. So I haven't really been training. So this would be the month. We ran this week for sure. Like 2 miles, 3 miles, 2 miles. I think we ran 3 miles today. Tomorrow
Yeah.
we'll probably run 4 miles. Uh but I don't I want to run it, and I don't want to feel that sting of everybody running right by me as I hold up a sign. As I cheer you on.
Hey, I was gonna say, dude, you're gonna be the first person I high five, and I'm gonna look right at.
Like that. Uh oh, that hurts.
I'm gonna high five you.
No way, man. I'll be like, now I'm
Uh,
gonna I'm gonna I'm gonna convince her. I'm gonna convince her to do it because I can't do that. I have to run it.
and I,
However long it takes.
if you're there on your porch, bro, I'm gonna be like, hey, we appreciate your support.
Oh, damn, that hurts. Yeah. Yeah. So how's working out? How's that going?
It's going good, man. You know what's crazy is yeah, working out, and I don't know if I told you, but we uh we have a foreign exchange student
Ooh.
living with.
Oh, wow.
So when we talk about working out, it's been a little different because he's with us, and he's not used to that much training, and so I feel bad because the day feels long because I'm worried about somebody else. Like somebody else's well-being is now on my mind,
Mhm.
whereas when it was just my son or my sons, it was like, this is what we do. Like, this is just what we do.
Yeah.
Like, we're gonna go to the gym, then we're gonna go shoot around at the park and get some shots up. We're gonna get home like at 11 o'clock, take a shower, and go to sleep. And so, like, I don't know, 11:30. Let's say you're going to sleep or whatnot. Oh man, give me 1 second. Jeez, man, this freaking podcast is gonna be. There we go.
Yeah.
Um, so this his name is Tim. Tim is with us, right? And the first week he's just exhausted, man. He's just sleeping in the car on the way to school or whatnot, and we're even cutting our workouts a little shorter, trying to like just ease him in.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Next week, I think I'm just gonna be like, hey, this is what we do, dude. Like, if you want, you can stay home and go to sleep, but we're gonna go work out,
Yeah.
So this week was off, and trying to get him. He's from China. He
Okay.
doesn't speak any English.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and he's on the basketball team with my son. So he's a true freshman. He's 14 years old, so he's young. He's super young, but super tall. He's like 6'4".
Oh, wow.
He eats like a horse, but
Yeah.
he's just used to working out that much. We kind of go hard, and I didn't realize it until I was like worried about this other kid. Like, dang, is this too much? And if you're not used to it, it's too much.
Yeah.
Like, everybody needs at least 8 to 10 hours of sleep, and we weren't getting in 8 to 10 hours.
No. I'm lucky to get 6 hours of sleep. That's like my goal. 6 hours of sleep.
How's your workouts coming along?
It's coming now. Like I have a plan. It's I me and my plans. So every morning it's the four. Wake up at 4:15. If it's a run day, I'm running at 4:45. If it's a gym day, I'm at the gym at 5 a.m. And it's about an hour at the gym, just a little under an hour. Um, and then run. We probably run 4 days out of the week. I run 4 days out of the week, and I work out 3 days out of the week, and it's full body. So it's full body workouts. What is it? Tuesday, Friday, Sunday. That's what it looks like. Tuesday, Friday, Sunday, full body workouts. Been taking the creatine. Gotta get the creatine in.
Bro, I stopped.
Don't stop. You can't stop, man.
And I know, dude.
You
I,
can't stop. You gotta get the creatine in, and I try to get the protein in. I try to get the 180 grams of protein as best as I could. That's very hard for me because it's just hard to eat now. But I try to get the 180 grams of protein in, and if I get the 6 hours of sleep, I feel great. I feel great. It's a good day. Sometimes I don't get that sleep in, but those are my workouts. And when I'm in the gym, I try to push myself as heavy as I possibly can. Um, I'm not trying to hurt myself, but I'm trying to push myself heavy. The other day I was wrestling with my son. He picked me up. This dude picks me up, Daniel. He picks me up off the ground. This was like, I don't know, it was Saturday or something like last week. He picked me up off the ground. It was just like swaying me like this. Like just my feet were dangling off the ground like this. And I'm like, what are you doing, man? And like he swayed me and he put me down. He's laughing. So I reached around and I grabbed him behind his back and I just squeezed him like, boof, like, like just to show him, I guess, just to show him, like, hey, come on now. And I squeezed him, and then he just like went limp, and we both fell to the ground because he just went limp, like, oh. And I hit my elbow on the ground, like, bah, and my elbow has not been the same. My elbow has not been the same. Like after that day, like I was pushing down the pump for soap, like just like I was like, oh, my elbow, and I was like,
damn.
oh my god, yeah. I was like, oh my god, uh, that's not good, And then me, like, I'm not gonna go to a doctor, Like I'm like, I'll just work through it. I'm just gonna work through it. And so that's where I'm at right now with that. But you know, your health, you gotta take care of it.
And you shouldn't be wrestling 20-year-olds or 18-year-old, whatever,
Twenty
however
to
old
20.
20-year-olds, man. That's probably a bad idea at 47.
Yeah, yeah.
I, I
And
try to I try to avoid it.
yeah, yeah. I don't normally do it, but he picked me up off the ground and swayed me like this, like a baby, like. So I was like, "Oh, wait a minute, hold up." But Vince is now 21, huh?
Yeah, he turned 21, man.
Crazy. How's
That is
that?
that is crazy. Yeah, I took him to Vegas.
That's good.
Did a little Vegas trip. I wanted to go to that spot, but I forgot the name of it. I think it's in Orleans, New Orleans or something like that. That little the clam. What is
Yeah,
it?
the Oyster Bar, and it's at
Oyster bar.
it's at the Palace Stations.
Ah, see, I wouldn't have found it.
Yeah,
I was gonna call you, but then he wasn't too like. He was like an oyster bar, and I was like, dude, no. My brother says they have the best. I forgot what it was though. The best what?
hand roast, the
Hand
best
roll.
hand roast. Yeah, it's delicious.
Yeah. So we ended up gambling the whole night, and I think ended up at Denny's like at freaking early in the morning, late at night.
Yeah,
But so we didn't really have time to eat. But it's cool. He's 21 now. He's a grown man.
good.
It's interesting. You know?
Right on. Well, Vince,
Yeah.
thank you so much for being on the podcast. I greatly appreciate it. We're getting close to that hour time limit, and thank you for your time, man. Your insight. You started off the podcast. Number one, you were the first podcast, and I wasn't even able to air it either because the sound was off or something was off, and I couldn't
Oh
air
yeah.
that first. Yeah, that first podcast, I couldn't even
Hey,
air it.
hey, this one might got not get aired either.
I know. It might not. It might not get there. The lights went out. Your phone went
Yeah,
dead, and I was like, "Oh my god!" But this is podcast number 52. My goal was to get 52 podcasts in, so I had 52 conversations, and we'll see where this leads. I really enjoy doing it. It doesn't feel like a job. When it starts to feel like a job, I think I won't do it anymore. When I feel
yeah,
like I'm obligated to do it, but it doesn't feel like a job right now. It just feels like I'm having a conversation and asking somebody about education and give me your point of view. And today's point of view was from a dean's point of view. And I
yeah,
hope that whoever listens to this podcast, appreciates their dean.
for sure.
Yeah.
I appreciate you, man. Thanks for having me on.